Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coast to Coast. We are starting off this morning amazingly well when we have all these technical difficulties that we are
Yes.
trying to resolve on the fly. But we are here with you. It's a Monday morning, and we're feeling great. How are you doing, Mr. Alabama guy?
This is starting off like a morning for sure. People will never see the full behind the scenes. The fact that we are still smiling does not let you know what we've been going through all morning, man. I'm happy to be here though. Let's get it
And listen, every day above the grass is a great day. So I look at it like
started.
that. Um, you know, I uh,
You got to take your
I,
wins
I'm
where you can.
I'm going to start off with you. We're going to start off with Alabama winning two games by 20 plus points. They beat Hofstra, and then they smoked Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I thought Texas Tech was going to give them a little bit of a run for their money, but that was not the case.
Yes. Absolutely. Texas Tech is first off, they were favored, even though we were the higher seed. They're slightly favored going into it. But the way they'd been shooting lately, that's even we go up 20 early and none of us are relaxed. We actually did a live stream for the game last night, so you can come see our reactions live. Um, Even when we're up 20, I'm sitting there going, look, a team that shoots a three ball well can get back into any game. So we really didn't relax until 5 o'clock. Plus, it was the last game of the night.
Right.
Waiting until after 9 to get started, that was also tough. But man, I'm just happy to have the win.
Well, not only that, it was I didn't think that they were going to get going because you were putting pressure on them at the 3 point line.
We were
So it as long as you guys didn't pull away from that,
right.
you guys are going to win that game. And they were consistent about that. And you're going to need to be consistent about that with Michigan.
Yeah, that's
This is going to be a tough one to do. They have a really good team. They spread the ball around well. That's one of the things that they do really well. So you're going to need to have three good defensemen on the perimeter to be able to watch those guys because they can pass the ball around and they'll find the open guy. And you know that's what they do best is they can shoot open threes
yeah.
well.
Yeah. We need that same, you mentioned it, we need that same defensive intensity we had this last game. That was one of our best connected games that I've seen. Because our team, we start off in a good defensive position, but the first time there's a switch, or a pass or whatever, it's like everybody gets disconnected. Nobody knows what guy they have, and it gets helter skelter. We do badly. Second, we rebounded well last night, and Michigan is gonna, kill on the board. So this is going to be a tough one. Plus, Michigan has Alabama's number lately in almost everything from football, basketball to hopscotch. So we need to really, it's going to be a tough one. This is going to be, I think they're already a double-digit favorite over us going in. So it's,
They are a 10.5 point
yeah,
favorite starting
yeah,
off. But you have till Friday. It's the early game on Friday, which is
right.
nice. So you guys are going to be doing that, and what I guess it's 7:35 our time, so it's
Yeah.
probably like
Same
6:30
for
your
us.
time. Which is probably works out in your favor a little bit. You know what I mean? At least it helps a little bit. It's not like playing at midnight.
Right.
Um,
Right. I don't know. We
and
played the late game and hit 19 threes. So if they got to move us to 9, I would take it. So I don't know.
they are not moving you. Just let you know, they ain't moving
There's
you.
nothing you can do about that. You're saying you can't help me out in that regard.
No, I don't have any say. They don't ask me my opinion. Saying that I don't even watch many of these games. It's like literally. But I happened to not be able to sleep last night, and I got to see a little bit about what was going on. And you could just tell. Like I thought I was like, damn. I thought Texas Tech was like. I thought I was going to be able to say some, like ride it a little bit. But nope, there was no riding it at all. Like they played well, and they deserved to win. There was no doubt in that mind. Like it was just, and they played a full, you know, I guess it's 60 minutes of basketball there.
40 for them. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020. All right, there you go.
Yeah, 2020 for college, y'all. So
Now, see, I see that's how well I watched it. You know what I mean? I don't know how much time there's even on the clock, but I mean, my team, the team that I would have actually had any bit of interest in, got spanked. They were up all game long, and then in the final 4 minutes, they had a 13-1 run against them, and Villanova got
oh yeah,
out of the tournament
yeah.
by Utah State.
Utah State, who just got smoked by, well, not smoked, but beat by Arizona. Yeah. Did you see the coach's comments? Supposed to be joking, I guess, at halftime and after the game. He was like, I need to fire my staff. We're not playing well enough.
Right. No, it's that. They actually put that all over. That didn't bode very well,
Right.
on social media. So it's like there's going to be some repercussions from that, I think.
You think so?
And here's the problem: Villanova is. It's not the same team since Jay Wright left.
Right.
And
that's a tough act to follow, though, man. That is.
Well, no, you see, what Villanova has to do is they got to figure out how to get 3-star recruits rather than the 5 stars and get them to stay.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. That's what these teams now are going to start to have to figure out. I mean, obviously, looking at the Sweet 16, Texas at 11 is the lowest seed. You have Iowa at 9, which Iowa. I mean, it's kind of funny that they were number 9. Anyways, I thought Iowa was actually a little bit better than that. But everything else, like you got Tennessee at 6. And that's it. Everything else has been just about chalk.
Right.
But
you mentioned this the other day. One of the things that's going to happen, like you mentioned Villanova and getting a 3-star, the teams that do that, the mid-majors, that used to be their advantage. Hey, we're going to get a bunch of 3-stars, but they'll all be here 3 or 4 years and playing together. And that's where you got those upsets. In their 3rd year, they're like, hey, these guys have all been together. Look at their records. You don't get that anymore because 2 years of a 3-star playing well at a mid-major, he's jumping ship. So you don't get that. That'll be the problem, I think, for Villanova going forward too as well. And that's why you say the lowest seed is Texas at an 11. I mean, that's still a major school. They just happen to go through the play-in game to get to this point. But we're not talking about any small schools. That's why the smaller schools are disappearing and you're not seeing as many upsets. They don't get to hold their teams together like they used to.
Yeah,
we all know it. There'd be like 5 guys out here are going to be future accountants, but they had played together for 4 years and knew like every defensive play, every offensive play, and had that one guy that could shoot with his eyes closed. You don't get that anymore.
And that's why you see the Ivies usually do well in the tournament, because if you're in an Ivy League school, you aren't jumping ship.
Right.
So it's like those guys are playing together for 3 and 4 years. And like Penn went in and they had, I think that those guys have been playing, most of them have been playing for at least 2 years, but some of them, like the crux of the team, was playing for 3 years. However, they got hurt. Yeah, they had like 3 guys that were hurt, and then all right, well, that ends that run. It was great, while it lasted, but you're not going to be able to compete when you've got 3 of your main contributors hurt. Going into the
Penn
tournament.
also wasn't the best team for most of the year, though. That was Yale. They just happened to hit a 3 at the buzzer, to send the game to overtime, and then they win the conference tournament, and that really sends them in. So you're not even really kind of sending what was your best team for most of the year. But no, it's a good point on the Ivies. They do keep teams up. We hadn't put up any comments, but we were afraid to touch anything until you.
Today is a disaster. Do I sound any better, or is this?
No, absolutely not.
Perfect.
Sorry, man.
It's going well.
So you can just smile and nod.
Awesome. I'm going to work on a couple other things on the machine then, see if I can get my sound to come back. So,
for anybody who's hearing, that digitized fish is Bo.
Yeah.
He
Well, at
sounds
least
like
they
he's
was up
talking
there
in a
by him.
fishbowl, and it sounds very digitized. That's definitely Bo doing some good work over there.
Chicken dip. Hey,
StreamYard is amazing, let me tell you. There were some good games. There were some good games in the tournament.
Love you, yeah.
Obviously, there were some
Houston
buzzer
doing really well.
beaters.
Yeah.
It was kind of exciting to watch a little bit. A lot of blowouts, though. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just it's not the same anymore. It's just not the same. It's not done. It has not done. The NIL has not helped, and the
It has
transfer
not.
portal has not helped
No.
this. This has now become. It used to be great
Yeah.
when
Really.
they had things like this, but now because of that, it's just been. I think that you have to. You're going to see more of the NIL, not the NIL, the NIT going to have to come in. At one point, they were talking about expanding this to 128 teams.
Which seems like a mistake.
It seems like a mistake. However, I almost want to push for it now. And the reason why I'd want to push for it is that I want the top seeds to not play a weekend.
Oh, I got you. Get some kind of reward.
Yeah. So you get, so they get like the bye for the first weekend. And what that does is that rests them, which sounds like, oh, okay, well, now they're rested and ready to go for the rest of the tournament. The problem is that with basketball, just like anything else, rest isn't always the best thing.
For sure.
And you start to get rusty. And I
Yeah.
feel like that might be where this could come back into play, where it's ultimately if with 128 teams, if you were to give the top 8 seeds, the 1 and 2 seeds, the buys in the brackets, you would have to play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday
Mm-hmm.
to get everybody into the 8, to get the 8 in to make the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Now they already played Tuesday and Wednesday. It's just the first 4 games.
Right,
So,
that's what I'm saying. So you would change that somewhat, and I'm saying that it's 128. It would actually be 120 teams because the top 8 are by.
not,
Yeah. So and it's probably there's probably some math that kind of filters out on that too. So it's
Right.
probably like 112 or whatever. It's I don't
Right.
know. I don't know the math right off the top of my head on how that would work. But I like the idea of giving them the bye because, like I said, I think that there would be a certain level of rust that comes in. I know that these are college kids. I know that they're going to be practicing all the time and things like that.
It's not, yeah.
But it gives the opportunity to these lower seeds to be able to play against more common competition,
Right.
to possibly get up in there, and then they have to have one good win against the higher seed, like a 4 or a 5.
Right.
And I think that would maybe help it and help this get back to a little bit. It's just you're not going to see any of the upsets like you did anymore. You're never going to see another 16 seed beat a 1 seed in this current format.
Yeah,
Ever.
it's tough. I mean, Siena was up on Duke at half, but you could tell that that's about as far as it was going to get. I think the other part of so it's funny for the rest thing in the college football playoff, teams with a bye are 1 and 7. Of course, the one win was against Alabama. Thanks, guys. Other than that, the rest versus rust thing really holds true. I would change it though to where I don't want more teams. I think they've already kind of bloated it as is. I would change NIL at some point and start regulating the portal. Like at the very least, there needs to be 2-year contracts. All these guys like Auburn. I'm not picking on them because they're not the only school. It's just the most common. They had a guy that'd been in 4 schools. that's not what the transfer portal was supposed to be used for you just to hop, hop. So I'd start with some longer contracts, especially for these smaller schools. It's the only way to hold their team together. So you're even, like you said, recruiting a 3-star and thinking this guy could still, if he has a great year, still jump ship after a year. It's crazy.
Well, and that's the hard part. When I talk about the 3 stars, I mean, obviously, we're putting it on a 5-star level.
Right.
So when we're talking about football and you have Indiana, and Indiana had 2 and 3-star recruits and didn't have many 5-star recruits. I think they had 2 in total, and they wound up winning the national championship, the first ever playoff in the national championship with an undefeated season. If they were named any other school that was normally there, they would be listed, and they should still be listed as the best team, ever at the moment. So
maybe they hit the transfer portal hard though too. So it's not just the recruiting part for them. They leaned into the NIL and the recruits.
Right.
Yeah,
well, because
I do like the idea of having. Am I back? Am I back?
Yes.
hey,
Let's go. Yeah. No, so I had a sound component just fail. So that was cool.
Gotcha.
Yay. But I do agree with you. They do need to have a like 2-year contracts or something to help
keep them there. Yeah.
keep the nucleus together, because the one and dones and people moving, and I mean it makes it less enjoyable to watch as a fan.
Yeah. And that's the
I
problem
have
though
to
with
ask.
basketball, is because the one and done part of it, they can, like AJ DeBance, who for BYU, he's not going to sign a 2-year contract because he's definitely going to NBA after one. But some of these lower guys, for sure, yeah.
Well,
like,
but
hey,
that's
we know you're not
okay.
leaving
Signing a 2-year contract and going to the NBA after one, if you're going to go professional, that's a different story.
Sure.
But it forces you to have to stay. So you're going to stay at that school, you're staying for 2.
Or you're going to- Right.
Right. It's
I
like
like
that's how that works.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that part. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, the one and done, and I mean, and then Silver starting to play games with, oh, well, everybody might be a free agent. That might be the easiest way to do this, rather than have all these, have this draft. That the draft is actually becoming, it makes people tank.
Yeah.
So I liked how somebody came up with an idea, and I know we're switching over to pro right now, but kind of this is going to, this would trickle down to the NIL, that if you were going to have a proper way of being in the lottery, that the moment that you were out of the playoffs, that you have to still collect wins, and the ones with the most wins get the top seed as the lower brackets once you're out of the playoffs. And the way that works is like, oh, well, that makes no more tanking. You're not tanking these games and losing these games purposely to try to do that. Now, is it possible that there's going to be good teams that tank in the regular season just to be able to get to that point where they can actually start to try to do that? I mean, I guess there could be some of that. But
Well,
if you're not out of the playoffs
Right.
until 2 weeks left, you're not going to get enough chances to win those games to be able to get a better draft pick. Where somebody who was out at the very beginning, and then maybe a team that's 2 weeks after that, they may be a good enough team to have enough wins to be able to jump over a team that's tanking, but it stops the tanking process.
Yeah, I mean,
if you do it that way, though,
the tanking process is funny anyway, because they have their lottery program, which just means that you're going to be bad and the Spurs are going to get the number 1 pick.
Right.
Of course. Which I don't know how they became the market that got it. The problem with that is if I'm in the 10 seed, then the play-in game, the way that's constructed, then I'm just going to tank to get to that spot, and then I'll play better again. So I don't get how we got to the point where the NBA is not concerned about the style of play, not concerned about load management, but we're concerned about tanking. Like, there's nobody sitting here who's thinking, man, I wish the Utah Jazz would win more games this year. Like, nobody cares about that. If your team has been bad to the point where they start to tank, it's not like they weren't trying at the beginning of the year. We're acting like they tanked for 82 games. They tried. They got 40 games in. They said, guess what? We're not winning this. If we try our hardest, we can get to the play-in game at the 10 seed, lose to the 9 seed, not be in the lottery and not gain anything. I don't understand why they think that the tanking part. If it's my organization and I'm looking at it and saying, hey, guys, we sit these two guys, we lose a couple more games, we're in the lottery, we have a chance at a draft pick, like, that's what I'm going for. I'm not fighting to get into the last spot in the play-in game. You have to win a game, then you got to win another game for the right to be beat by the number 1 seed or 1 or 2 seed. Like, none of that makes sense to me. I just don't think tanking is their biggest issue.
Well, I know that tanking is a big issue because they destroyed the Sixers because of it. The Sixers were straight out saying, hey, the only way that you can win in this league is to have a big three, and we are going to go do that, which means that there has got to be a process to make that happen, and we are going to stink for a minute. And they did, and then they said, no, can't do this. You got to fire your GM, and we're going to give you a GM. And, of course, that GM liked to have 18 Twitter accounts and made himself sound better. What is it that you are drinking out of? What is that?
Look, man, I was up late, for the game, and I've got 2 big coffee cups. This is one of them. My niece gave me this. So that's what you're getting this morning.
For those on the radio, what we are looking at is a baby Yoda in a backpack coffee mug.
Grogu from the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So that's which is better than what I thought, because I thought it looked like a toilet.
Wow. Thank you, Mom. Mom loves me. We appreciate it. I forgot about the radio audience. I'm sorry. You guys will just have to imagine the visual. That's what we got this morning.
Yeah, imagine the audio they were getting from me on the radio. It's just
you sound like Baby Yoda there for a minute.
Yeah, right? It's a Monday. There's no doubt. Oh man.
So, anyways, but yeah, that's congratulations to Alabama for making it. And hey, listen, I am not a fan of Michigan. I am actually rooting for Alabama to win on Friday.
I'm sending you a shirt. You gonna wear it, right?
Sure.
Why not? Yeah. Now, and my Zags got beat up by Texas, so they're already out. So not a big shock. They weren't playing particularly well this year anyway, but
yeah, this was a weird year for them. They started off well, but kind of under the radar. I think they lost to one of the big boys early, but yeah, they weren't. Yeah, Raj, that's my brother right there, Philly. So he's with us now.
And even in some of the wins they had, they just didn't look particularly good, right?
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, this probably isn't their year. I mean, they still get in, obviously,
right?
But yeah, I didn't expect them to go very far.
Right. They also kind of ran it. It's weird, since they had the play-in game, there's always a team that wins a couple games. And when I first looked at the bracket, I went with Texas in that case, because it was either Texas or like SMU or Miami, Ohio. And I was like, nobody believes in either one of those two. So without even looking at matchups, I put Texas in the Sweet 16. And it just happened to be the Zags kind of in the way of that.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a different year, I would have thought the Zags could get by them. But going into that game, I was just like, yeah, this is where it ends.
Yeah. It was a tough matchup, though. To get a team like Texas at an 11 is always tough anyway.
For sure. Absolutely.
Drinking up your guys' imagination. I guess from this angle, though, it does look like
it absolutely does. Yeah.
I wasn't talking out of.
Yeah, no, from that angle, it absolutely looks like a creature is climbing out of a toilet. So
now I need to order nice, cooler coffee mugs. Don't mind me, folks. I will.
Hey, listen, you can drink out whatever you want to. That's all on you. So
people on the radio are like, what is wrong with this show? So much. There's so much wrong with this show today.
Yeah. But so much right. We made it. Bo rescued everything. We're good. Alabama had a win.
Bam. Look at that.
And you lost the #1 seed yesterday in Florida. So it was an interesting day. A lot of brackets got killed with that one. Iowa and Nebraska are about to play, and somebody coined it the Corn Bowl already because this is not the matchup that anybody expected. Nebraska won their first 2 games in the NCAA tournament ever to get to this point. So,
okay.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. And I can tell by that excitement level, that's everybody's excitement for Iowa, Nebraska. Nobody will be watching this game except that it might be the only one on at that point. But, kudos to any team making it this far right now.
I mean, you might watch it.
If that's your selling point, I don't know if I'm buying.
Yeah, you might watch it because it'll be on.
Yeah.
It's like Thursday night football, right? Like the game isn't going to be good, but you're going to watch it.
It's on. This is very true. Very true.
So, I'm going to switch up a little bit to hockey. And I know that this probably, quiets Mr. Alabama for a minute.
You say that, but I've been involved in every conversation that doesn't start with, hey, this is going to shut up Mr. Alabama guy. When you don't say that, I'm in it. When you say that, I'm like, okay, he's telling me to shut up for a minute.
No, actually, it's listen, join in if you can. You know what I mean? I'm all game for that. So I'm looking at the standings, and I've always been looking at the West now, mostly because the Kraken are slowly
dying,
leaving the playoff picture.
Yes,
and in the process of that, I'm looking at you have the 2 best teams in the league right now are the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars.
Yeah,
and between the both of them, one's got 102, one's got 97 points, and they are both kind of in the fight for the President's Cup. Dallas is actually coming on pretty strong right now. The best team is the Carolina Hurricanes. It got 96, and the Sabres got 95. But everybody else, like for instance, the Flyers are 5 points out of a playoff spot with 80 points. So it makes me go and look at, okay, so you have the Western, which it's very top heavy. Below that, though, the Western Pacific Division leader is the Anaheim Ducks with 82 points.
Yeah, and that's because of a run later because they weren't there. There's been an incredible amount of parity in this division. Like it is cycled through a lot.
Yeah, but bad parity, not good parity. It's bad parity. Like it's like these teams aren't very good.
Yeah, they're not great, but they're not terrible either. Like they're middling teams
for the year, though.
No, exactly. Yes. No, that's what I mean. Oh, nobody from this division is going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they'll snag a series from somebody, and that'll be it. Like nobody from the Pacific Division is doing work.
If it was a straight out overall type of situation, there would not be most of those teams in the playoffs.
Oh, you're
If
talking
you-
about like if it was just a division or a conference? whatever?
Not even the conference. If it was overall,
because
the Flyers would be in second place in that division.
Right.
You know, 2 points behind Anaheim, who they beat just recently. And the San Jose Sharks have like kind of failed off. So it's like we beat them too. Like I said, we would be in second place in that division.
Yeah.
And they're going to bring in, they're going to have 3 teams, maybe 4 teams that shouldn't be in the playoffs if there was that type of call, but are going to be because they're out in the West and the West stinks so bad.
So the thing that's funny is they'll probably actually have 5 teams because they'll have both wild card teams from it.
No, Utah's too high. Utah's got 80 points, and they're going to wind up. They're in the other division. So,
so they weren't there though. It was 2 Pacific. A couple of games ago, it was 2 Pacific teams that were making it in.
Right, because they both kind of stink, and then Utah. What happened is that Utah started to come on a couple of games, and Utah, for anybody who doesn't know, like, hey, just a couple of years ago, it used to be Phoenix, so they're not really that good. It's just.
Yeah. But you have the same argument in other sports too, right? I mean, there'll always be like the NFC South is putrid and they still get a team in and hosting a game. So it's kind of, for a while it was the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference in basketball. Like half the teams in the East were making it with a losing record. So it sucks when your team is the one getting squeezed by it, but it happens all the time.
Yeah, I still prefer it to be the divisional situation because it keeps your fans engaged longer, right?
Of course, and realistically, like I said, the way football does it, I like that because you only have to beat 3 other teams in your division. Right. If your division stinks, you still have the chance, and I love it when one of those terrible teams with a putrid record beats a good team. It's like the 7-9 team or the 7-10 team is going to always beat the 12-3 team that could, or 12-5 team that couldn't win the division, and then they got to go on the road from the West Coast. So the 49ers are going to be playing like Tampa Bay, and the 49ers get spanked because they're playing at 10 o'clock in the morning their time. But you guys got it. You understand exactly what I'm talking about with that. So
that was a real concern for the Rams having to play the Panthers, a team that had already beat them. Nobody was like, "Hey, we're just gonna, they're just gonna smoke them." So Bo, you're gonna join the party too. So that was an actual real concern. And also, the divisions kind of kept you watching, New Orleans Saints versus Falcons on the last day of the year, which otherwise we'd all checked out on. But now all of a sudden that determined the title. So
exactly.
That's what I liked about hockey is that you would have 3 divisions of 5 teams each, and each division winner. So if you had a division that was poor,
right,
you still had the opportunity of getting in there, and because you played your divisional teams. Now everybody plays everybody, and it's just I don't like that the same way. It kills the rivalries. It's like the fact that we only play Pittsburgh, that they're on certain years we have 2 home games and 1 away game, and the opposite years we have 1 home game and 2 away games against Pittsburgh. I want to play Pittsburgh 5 times.
Right.
I want to play against them. I want that rivalry to be going. I don't want to go play the West, all those times. I would rather do the West. You have one division that you do a home and away, and you play the rest of that division one time away or one time home, and that's that. You know what I mean? And just so that when you see each other in a Stanley Cup setting, you have no idea really. You're not familiar with it. The way this is, you get familiar because you're seeing them. When you
Wait
play a
for
team twice, you have an idea. You know what I
Right.
mean? You get the feeling. And I'm just not a fan of the way that they changed this. And they did that because they understood that well, you want more parity. You want more
Mhm.
everybody close together, kind of. So by sending these guys out on more road trips on the far West Coast, they're expected not to do very well. You know what I mean? That's what it is. When you're traveling and playing 7 or 8 games on the road, you typically aren't you're going 500 or less.
Yeah. Did you feel the same way when baseball did this kind of same and started?
Yes. Yes, I am not a fan of the way that they
No.
did this. I want to play the Mets 13 times. I want to play. The problem is that so really it's Bo's division that stopped that
Mhm.
because ultimately you're playing Oakland 17 times and you're winning 15 out of the 17 because Oakland stinks so bad. You know what I mean? And now it's like you're giving an unfair advantage, kind of, to some of those teams.
Right.
I didn't care for that. I was like, you know what? That's tough because I remember when Oakland was good. I remember when that division was one of the better divisions
Right.
in baseball. When you had Ken Griffey up in Seattle and Jay Buhner and Jamie Moyer and things like that. Like they actually were competing, and you
Mhm.
had, you had Seattle was a good team. You had Ichiro up there forever, who was hitting, 300 and 320 every season and stealing like 40 or 50 bases, and
Yep.
Ricky Henderson that played like almost he exclusively out in the West.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come east. He was like he was like, oh, I'm going to play for the A's. Oh, I'm going to play for the Angels. I'm going to play for everybody out down that side.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's always going to be ebbs and flows
Right.
with the way these schedules are going. So I wish it would go back a little bit to the way
Sure.
that it was. And since they made the changes, I mean, unfortunately, in hockey, when it comes to hockey, since they made those changes, the Flyers haven't been able to make the playoffs, which is really frustrating. I'm not going to blame that. I'm going to blame the executives of the Flyers organization for the reason why the Flyers aren't making the playoffs. Um, and they're not going to make it again this year. I think that they're going to get close, but I think that we're going to be like a point out. We have, I think it's like 13 games left, and we need 22 points out of the 26.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do at all.
No, I mean you got to be winning. Like you got to go on a heater right now.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but you have to once you get into the playoffs, you can't stop. So I mean, your playoffs start today.
Well, our playoffs started last week, actually.
Yeah.
If you want to try to get going to that, and the thing is that I am not as concerned about what the Flyers are going to do in the playoffs.
Right.
Only because I know that we're going to be playing up against the number 1 seed. If we barely make it in, we make it in as the number 8 seed. And in hockey, amongst anything else, that is the one time where a number 8 seed really has a chance against the 1 seed. So, I remember, back in 2010 when the Flyers were going in the last game of the season and they won a shootout, which they never would win against the Rangers to make the playoffs. And because Montreal won as well, we wound up getting the 7th seed and Montreal got the 8th seed. And those were the two teams that met in the conference final. That as the 7th seed, we had the home field, home advantage in the conference finals as a 7th and 8th seed. So hockey really does have the opportunity. I will tell you that that's not going to happen with the Flyers. The Flyers just do not have enough firepower to compete against these top tier teams. That being said, I want them to get the experience. I want them to see because there is absolutely the proverbial switch in hockey that changes the speed of the game from regular season to playoffs.
Yeah.
And you have to witness that because you have to harness that the next year. Like you have to be able to take that in. So getting swept in the playoffs is fine for me as long as they make it to the playoffs.
Well,
because I want them to get that little bit of experience. Every year that they don't make the playoffs is the year that they still got to take that first little step.
Right.
And that first step is a big one because you got to see the speed. You don't understand it until you're right in front of it.
Yeah. And sadly the Kraken are in the same boat, right? So it's they were in the playoffs a couple of years ago, but I mean, that was a wildly different team, different coach, a lot of different players.
And they did well in the playoffs there.
They did.
They got out of the first round and they were a lower seed. They got out of the first round. They beat the crap out of the number 1 seed from what I remember. And then they went up against Vegas, who was also Vegas was a juggernaut team right out of the gates. And they brought them to 7 games.
Yeah, exactly. You took them to it.
And that 7th game could have gone either way. Like you guys just didn't get those bounces that game, but that was a great series to watch.
Yes.
And then that's where I have the problem with certain GMs is because they start to tinker.
Yeah.
Oh, we were this short and this guy didn't perform very well in the playoffs. So because he had a bad series in that playoffs, let's move him and bring in this guy in when this guy, the guy that you just moved, was the cohesiveness in the locker room.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like that hockey GMs more than anything else forget what it's like to be on the ice.
Well, and it ripped the Kraken apart, right? Because the next year they were not good. Like they messed around with stuff and it was just not a good season. And then they changed all kinds of stuff. And we've at least been in the conversation, but we've been so wildly inconsistent. It's either been we're solidly in the race or we're second to last in the division. And that's all within the same month. Like it's wild how much, and some of that is because of the parity in the Pacific Division, right? Is everybody's so close that if you go on a heater, you move way up the board. And if you lose 5 or 6 games, it's a wrap. I mean, unfortunately, they're on this slide, when it matters the most. So it's too bad. Going into the last 18 games of the season, they had the 4th hardest schedule to wrap the year up. So it's not like it was inspiring a lot of confidence for a team that struggles to put the puck in the net. When you have one of the hardest stretches to finish the year and they struggle to score, it's pretty easy to deduce the fact that you may not make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, but that also goes back to your assistant coach. The defense has got to be able to handle that pressure because you guys weren't scoring a lot of goals, but your defense was handling it. Now you're going up against the better teams. You need your defense to really step it up, and they're not. And that could be just, hey, they're exhausted. I get it. You know what I mean? It's like when you use your bullpen too much in baseball, when it comes to the playoffs, they're gassed. You know, same situation in hockey. If you're putting them out there, if you're putting out your best pair 28 minutes a night, you know, by the end of the season, he's not got a lot in the tank to be able to try to do that. So, I mean, it's hard, and I get it. You know, like I said, I understand because this is a fight, and it's a long, grueling season, and you know, that's why in previous years they had those. You had like the Lightning rest guys all season long with an undisclosed injury, and then come back in the playoffs because he's going to play for 4 games, and now but that was all for cap purposes.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden your playoff roster has 3 guys on it that only played 4 games all season long, but are like
all-stars.
All-star players.
Yeah. No, exactly. And of course, you know, there is switching it up a little bit. There is some breaking news. JSN does get paid, and that contract is 4 years, $168 million. Again, not a shock. Like I said before they traded Walker, we're not going to pay a running back, and we absolutely will pay a receiver. And here we are. Witherspoon is expected to get about 22 million a year, 22 million a year. So that's another contract that's supposed to be getting done if it hasn't already this morning while we've been talking. But yeah, there's just a couple of positions that Seattle pays for: receivers and corners. They'll pay a safety. They will not pay an offensive lineman, which is wild to me. Although they did just pay Cross. I forget what his contract deal is now, but they're at least like, hey, you know what? Maybe this thing we've been doing for the last decade hasn't been working, and we adjust some offensive line, and all of a sudden we win a Super Bowl. Maybe there's something to it.
They're just not figuring it out, Bo. That's all. They're just kind of putting it together. So.
Yes,
kudos to JSN.
He's making a little bit more than Pags. Exactly.
Just slightly. They're definitely in the same neighborhood. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
yeah. I was trying to keep the title, but
next man up, right?
Yeah, but well deserved, man. Especially coming off his season and then a Super Bowl. Like, you've got to capitalize and get paid then. So.
Well, and he has gotten better every single year since he got in the league, right? Like his yardage and like all of that has gotten better every single year. So, like if Seattle didn't, someone would. There was no scenario where he wasn't going to be the highest paid guy for a minute anyway.
Right. Like the Bengals, they would have just added him, right? Let's get 3 wide receivers and
yes. And then an all rookie team for the defense, because that's all you can afford.
Yep. That'd have been awesome. And it's funny reading the first article that comes out and they talk about 120 million paid. And how's the article in? Puka Nacua, you're up next. Like, now he's gonna try to break this. So it's hilarious to watch.
He will.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll get the next bit. That's why I said he'll have the highest paid for a minute, because it will be Puka, and they'll pay him because he has been that caliber guy also. I mean, he's the go-to. He has had better seasons every year. Like he is that guy. So there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to get like $5 more than what JSN got. Has to be like, I'm the highest paid guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you get it for the minute, and that's okay. It's like everybody's got to outdo everybody else. But that starts after next season, correct? That's a 4-year extension, not a 4-year contract, correct?
Yeah, it's an extension. They said
they gave
tied in until 2031. Yeah,
I was just saying, because they got his 5th-year option, so that they don't. Yeah, this is the year where they try to go back to back on that, because ultimately he's going to be paid a lot of money, and he's going to be taking up, it's probably going to be 12% of the cap.
Well, the good thing is by the time that hits, your cap will have bumped up 2 more times. So it probably won't be as bad when it finally lands, but still, yeah. I mean, it's still a high percentage contract for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's $42 million a year. You got to get it up. Once it hits 400 million, though, it's there's a lot of money up there, and you're still taking 10% of the cap.
Yeah.
No,
So
exactly. Yeah.
that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So, hey, congratulations to him. Keeping with football. Did anybody watch the flag football game?
No.
I saw one clip. Jake Paul got hit in the face with the football.
I saw a couple of clips, but yeah, I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
I saw one clip as well where there was a touchdown, and Jake Paul. It was just kind of funny how Jake Paul was just trying to start a fight with Tom Brady the entire time,
Right.
and
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
Trying to keep relevant because nobody else.
well,
cares.
you know what? Hey, listen, that was Tom allowing him to do that type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
that was all scripted, of course.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? It's just like I felt like that was Tom trying to be relevant. That's Tom trying to throw his hat in the ring in WWE style smack talk.
It was actually to just get more people to watch the game is really what it
Right.
was. It was essentially their advertising for the flag football game, because otherwise there was nothing else to keep it in the news cycle, because who cares? But because they had Logan Paul and Tom Brady, going back and forth and whatever,
I mean, there were some high profile players playing in these games, though. I mean, it wasn't
for sure, but it wasn't getting anything. Like, it wasn't getting like, you heard the roster and you're like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever.
Right.
I didn't know anybody that was excited to watch this game. Just like they're not excited to watch the Pro Bowl, which is the same game with the same people. So, I mean, it's just like, yeah.
I didn't even know it was going on until the highlight, like till that stuff came out. I didn't even know what was going on. So,
well,
especially
yeah. I mean, I only saw them trying to go back and forth. Like I said, I thought it was, Brady trying to get, WWE points, and try to throw his hat in the ring for wrestling at some point or another. And next thing you know, you're going to see him go up against, CM Punk or something. You know what I mean? Because they're about the same size.
I mean, that would be funny.
A little bit, maybe.
I wouldn't rule it out. I still wouldn't watch it because I'm not a wrestling fan, but
How about all right? So all right, let's stick along those lines. Are you going to watch this round of the Ronda Rousey fight?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
because it's free, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and there's a nostalgia piece on my end. So my first date with my wife was to a Ronda Rousey fight. So
I was gonna say my first date ever was with Ronda Rousey. I was like, that's an interesting story.
Go. Yeah,
she beat the crap out of me, and that was the end of that.
Right. So I'm just watching again. No, it's yeah. So we went and watched a fight. So we're gonna go back to that bar and watch it. So just from a nostalgia piece, yeah, I'll watch it.
Okay. Well, I think that she loses. Actually, I think that the girl beats her.
Yeah, I could see that.
It was so interesting watching the face off. Watching the face off of it. It's like, first off, the one girl looks, she's just taller and bigger, and you can tell like she's like kept up with herself. And Ronda, like you saw Ronda wearing like high heel shoes, and I'm like, yeah. Ronda, you're going to get your butt whipped here, I think.
I mean, after that Holly Holm fight, she's never really fought well after that one.
Yeah. Has she? I haven't even heard that she did fight. I thought that she had that one exhibition fight that she was really underprepared for, but there wasn't really anything else after that.
So she fought after the Holly Holm, the first time she lost. She fought a few more times, lost basically all of them. And then she switched over to WWE for a minute and then did movies and stuff. So this is going to be her first actual fight, like real fight since then. So, and we're talking a decade ago, decade plus. So I can't imagine this is going to be a good fight, but but I'm going to watch it. So there's that.
There you go.
They got me. I'll be there.
Well, and since I have Netflix, I will also be watching. Yeah, it'll be interesting, to say the least. I don't know. Like it's, the fact that whether it's Jake or Logan Paul that's putting on these types of events, and
well, so Logan Paul was the one playing flag football. Jake Paul is the one that's sanctioning this fight.
yeah, because Jake can't talk, right? He's still got his mouth shut, wired shut.
Oh, is that why it's been nice out?
So, but yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting, and it's coming up here, isn't it? This weekend,
What?
this fight?
No, it's in like May.
Oh, I thought it was coming up here because I thought that's why they did the face-off soon. So
No. No. So the one that's coming up soon, the 27th, is my buddy that we had on the show the other day.
Yeah,
so,
they're on May 16th. May 16th.
Yeah, there we go. May 16th.
Oh, that's actually a great day. I'm having that's one of my show dates and stuff. So for anybody who knows and anybody who's watching from the Philadelphia area, we are starting a variety show, and we are having a casting call on Tuesday. And I will say that there is going to be a very special guest that may appear. I can't say his name yet until after it happens, but it's Wednesday. I may have some really good stories to tell.
Okay.
But so I can't say because I don't want to jinx it from happening. But
Fair enough.
if you ever saw the movie Cruel Intentions, I'll leave it at that.
All right.
That's an old movie. You guys were all old enough. Like, well, Herb, I don't know how old you are. You just look old.
Wow.
And on that note, we should get out of here.
Thanks for tuning in. It's been a weird show. For those of you on the radio, stay tuned. You got some smooth jazz headed your way. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube or any of the other platforms, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. Hopefully the sound will be a little bit better to kick it off. Take it easy, everybody.
Smooth jazz.